present, it's a separate program, ECSEL, stands for Components and Systems for European Leadership. And it's a complement actually to the ECS, Electronic Component System, that European Commission is running by themselves. It's a program that should cover actually a complete value chain from the electronic chips through the architecture systems to the applications, and also on the other hand, whatever is needed there from materials, all the software technologies will come in to get a complete microsystem solutions. It seems that it covers basically the whole market. According to what industry tells us, it's really correct, but it covers much less. I will show it in a second. Now it comes to the money issue. It's a cooperation program between the European Commission, the member states, and the industry. The idea is actually that it's the funding is shared between the industry and the public organization, which are the European Commission member states, 1-to-1. How it's calculated is a different story. The program is supposed to be almost 5 billion euros during the period of the 7 years. Quite a substantial money. When it comes to public support, it's half of that, which is approximately 2.5 billion euros over the same period of time. Also a lot of money, especially if you compare to what's spent on ETS within the Horizon 2020. It follows also the contribution model for the EU contribution, the Horizon 2020 model, although, as I'll show later, it's not really exactly the same. There are some discrepancies. So, what is in this program? It looks very much as Horizon 2020, but it's also only for the electronic components and systems. And the topics for the work program are supplied by industry. So what we have here, it's the so-called multi-annual strategic research and innovation agenda that industry writes. That's converted to multi-annual strategic plan, where the topics come in really written. So the input is from the industry. They check what they need in the future developments that are necessary for whatever they need it. And with that, the work program will be support to the European industry. It consists of actually of two parts: the essential capabilities, which is basically the basic technologies, the process technology for chips, design technologies, the cyber physical systems, which is mainly the embedded systems software, but also the smart integration of the systems on the micro scale. But also, what we have here is a lot of different applications. So the smart mobility, smart society, whatever will be in those application areas, it will be described what's needed each year. It will be described in the work program. So those key applications actually address basically most topics that we would run into the daily life. So we'd think, well, the hell, those money won't be good enough. What industry tells us is actually that it covers approximately 25% of the total market. It don't address the consumer electronics, neither the large computing systems or the computers at all. So it's the specialized areas that are important for Europe. That's what it addresses. So what we have here, it's quite broad area of both applications and the essential technologies that will get support. These, what I've been talking about, if you would like somehow to affect the content of the work programs, the input comes from the European technology platforms. For the non-electronics, it's ANEAS, which is former ENIAC, Artemisia for the software, for the embedded systems, and also EPOS for microsystems. So they together, they write their own inputs that are merged into one and the same document. That's how it comes. So if you'd like to have an input, you need to be engaged into those organizations, because they are basically the sole providers of the input to the work program. And there are unfortunately not that many participants from Sweden in those organizations, but there are some. So if you would like to get something, you can always contact us and we can connect you with the others. But also you can find those organizations on the home pages of each of those associations. If you think that the program is complicated, which really is, it depends on the structure itself that really we can't do anything about, because it's the decisions are made by several different parties. Once they give the technical input to the program, those private members, which is 3 different organizations, not always being in line with each other, and then the public authorities, which are the member states. It's just over 20 member states, plus European Commissions, and all of them have to agree. Not always easily done, because when you have that many different wills, it can be difficult. However, looking at the possible public contributions, it's a substantial amount of money. Developed previously, we had 2 different programs, Artemis and ENIAC, and it converged to ECSEL. So looking at that, we get that's the contributions from the European Union. The contributions are in the range of the Union itself, in the range of 150 million per annum. So annually 150 million. To that come the same contribution from the member states. It's a lot of money, and it will increase with time. So looking at the 2 first calls that we had, 2014 and 2015, the public contributions were, the first was slight drop from 310 million euros in the first calls and 300 million euros in the second call. That's much more than what you could expect from the Horizon 2020 going to component systems. So Commission, even if it looks that the support decreases within the Horizon 2020, the money are pipelined to this combined special arrangement that ECSEL is. So demand is actually totally increasing. The success rate is also higher normally than in Horizon 2020. It's somewhere between 15 to 20%. It's showed. I mean, there is no guarantee, of course, for the coming calls. We just don't know what kind of popularity it will be. But it's a lot of money. Looking at the budget distributed during 1 call per year is actually more than the whole Vinnova budget during the same time. A lot of money pipelined to one in the same area. When it looks to Vinnova budget, before and after ECSEL, we had a total of 4 million euros for the Artemis and ENIAC, and to that contribute half of that from the European Union. That amounted to approximately 6 million euros total for the public contribution. After ECSEL, the Vinnova contribution is 5.5, and that makes that total possible public contribution is up to 11 million euros. That's a little bit dependent what kind of organization will apply, but it's up to that number. So it's a serious increase in the possible funding. The success rate was for the Swedish participant wasn't that great, but 1/3 of the accepted project has Swedish participation in 2014. That dropped to 25% in 2015. When it comes to the coming call 2016, there will be 2 calls open. The first one, it's the research and innovation actions with a center of gravity mainly around research topics. So it's this technology readiness level 3 to 4, which is the sort of long range of the research. But of course, it's the center of gravity, which means that it can be some of the top things that can be taken up by the projects can be both lower and slightly higher. So technology TRL 5 can also be accepted, and TRL 2 will also be accepted if it's not the center of gravity. The same goes for the innovation actions with the center of gravity from 5 to 8. Also, new thing for the 2016, that some projects will be selected as lighthouse projects, which it's still unclear due to the very complex management structure of the ECSEL, but those projects will be sort of examples that can be followed by the future projects. So there will be an advantage for the coming calls if those projects will be selected as lighthouse projects. Still, it's not published, so it's not the final text are not written about that. So it will come soon, but it's good to actually know. So when it comes to the Vinnova conditions, we can't really tell what kind of condition the European Commission will have, because it's not published and it's their own. They have actually the control of that, not we. But for the innovation actions, it's going to be for the large enterprises, it'll be 20% of the costs. For the SMEs, 25%. And for universities and other not-for-profit, which means institutes and so on, it's 50%. So we'll be covering, it's for the half of the budget that's not covered by the European Commission, and that's according to national rules, which means Vinnova rules, which means also that for the universities and institutes, we will accept the full coverage of the indirect costs. So whatever indirect costs you have that's accepted by Vinnova, that will be also accepted here. The rates for the research innovation actions are slightly different. It'll be higher for the industry, it's 25% for SMEs and 30% for 25% for large industry and 30% for the SMEs. And for the universities and the institutes will be the same as for the innovation actions. for the European Union, we'll have still to wait. However, the picture will look like that, basically, where the funding will consist of two parts that will add to each other. That Vinnova covers its to full the 50% of the cost for universities and institutes, and also the paying the full overhead on that. The Commission contribution will follow the Horizon 2020. The direct cost, as it showed, won't be paid to a 50%. Commission lowered it during the first two calls. It was 40%, and on top of that, the indirect costs are covered as usually within Horizon 2020 to 25%. They won't accept any higher indirect costs. So we made a quick calculation what it would be by the end. So for example, you have a direct costs of 1 million euro and 35% indirect costs, it will result in 1.1 million kroner in contribution. It's a little bit lower than the Horizon 2020, but sort of close. And if you increase your indirect costs, the total contribution will increase, but the difference will be higher. So that's it's still due to the way that the European Commission calculates its contributions. It won't be the full coverage. However, there are some conditions. Since it's an industrial program, the industrial participation necessary. So more than 50% of the total budget. I don't mean in this case the public contribution, but the budget. I mean the cost, the total cost for the project for the Swedish participants must go to the enterprises, and the national conditions apply, which are for the enterprises are quite similar to Horizon 2020, but are much better for the universities and for institutes. We have under discussion just right now will open for the travel grants to brokerage events and so on for the ECSEL, but also for the coordinators, if they will be Swedish, the complete project, European projects, we may open for grants for 300,000 kronor for just preparation of the proposal. And if in the case the project will be selected for funding, there will be additional 300,000 per year for running the project. That applies, of course, for technical coordinators. We don't want to see actually the management consultants running the project and getting those money. So it's for the technical coordinators. So when it comes to the schedule, it's two-phase. So the call will open in March 2016. It's a little bit unclear which date, probably mid-March. And the deadline for the project outline phase will be in May. And the deadline for full proposals will be the September 2016. So if you've been thinking actually participating in this kind of program, it will be open, and it's probably time actually to start looking at what's happening around. There are brokerage events. Unfortunately, they are just ending today. So it was in Strasbourg, and also but there will be other possibilities, of course, to get there. So if you have some questions, I could answer it just right now. No questions?